Hey guys, it's Lana! So before we get started with today's topic, I would just like to introduce a new partner to the team, my sister Alice. She is the editing coordinator, and so she will be in charge of everything from helping me choose what I talk about every week to finalizing the product and making sure it gets out as best as it can look. So today for our vlog, I will be talking about something that Alice and I really enjoy a lot. And we really have like a special appreciation for this. And so I hope you guys like it as much as me and my sister do. That's right, it's Disney. So there's a lot of topics that you can talk about when going into Disney. Alice and I, we narrowed it down to Disney theories. In case you guys don't know what Disney theories is, there's a broad spectrum that can go into Disney theories. Like today, we will be comparing Disney characters and how Disney characters and Disney movies are related. So there are a lot of Disney theories. I asked Alice what she thought the best ones would be, and so we came up with 5 of them. And so the 5 of them that we will be going through today are Belle and Jane, Toy Story, the story of Andy's mom, Mother Gothel and the Evil Queen, The Rise of the Guardians, and Frozen, and then Frozen, Tarzan, Ariel, and Tangled. So without further ado, let's get started. The first one I have on the list is Belle and Jane. Supposedly, Belle and Jane are grandmother and granddaughter, and they are both from Europe. Belle is from France and Jane is from UK. Alright, so iPad ran out of storage. So continuing on with the Belle and Jane comparison, Jane does have a teapot that does look exactly like Mrs. Potts. So when I was doing research, it came up with the correlation, between France and UK. It says, you'll never believe what movie they brought in. Frozen, the Duke of Weseltown. So if you look at the fathers, we've got Jane's dad that does, all the ape studies, and then we've got Belle's dad that's the scientist, inventor, or whatever. And if you throw in the Duke of Weselton into those 3, they look a lot alike. So they throw in a lot of things. Duke of Weseltown, like they talk about the relative time period, like how Belle was in about the 1700s, which was around the French Revolution, and then they looked at Tarzan, and so Tarzan was, I think they said around the 1800s by looking at Tarzan's age, which was the British Industrial Revolution, about that time. They describe in great detail how the two correlated with the Duke of Weselton. The Duke of Weseltown's ancestor was Belle and Prince Adam, and so that's why the Duke of Weseltown didn't like magic or whatever, because his ancestor was transformed via magic, so that's why he was scared of Elsa. And so then from there, Jane relates to Belle through the Duke of Weseltown, because Jane's father and the Duke of Weseltown, I think, are brothers. And so then you get the Duke of Weseltown and Jane's father, and then the Duke of Weseltown, his parents were Prince Adam and Belle. And so that's where you get the connection with the grandmother and the granddaughter. So that is the connection between Belle and Jane. Oh my gosh, that was a lot of facts. I couldn't keep that all straight. But moving on, our next movie we're going to correlate is Toy Story, and it's going to be the story of Andy's mom. Who is Andy's mom, and what does she have to do with the movie? So with Andy's mom, if you look at the movie in just first couple minutes, you see Woody is Andy's favorite toy. So he always plays with him or whatever, and so he's always wearing his cowboy hat and playing with his cowboy toy. Where does he get his cowboy hat from? Because wouldn't you think that if his favorite cowboy was Woody, they'd have matching hats? But they don't match. Andy has a red hat and Woody's hat is brown. So where does Andy's hat come from? It's thought that Andy got his hat from his mom, and then Andy got Woody from his dad. So that's why the hat and the toy don't match. But if you look at the hat really closely and follow along with the movies, someone else actually wears that hat in the movie, and it's not just Andy. Who is it? It's Jessie! In Toy Story 2, she's got the red hat. It's Jessie's hat. And then in Toy Story 2, they go back on Jessie's story about how she was abandoned as a child. They have the same hat, and now Andy has that hat. So what does that mean? Okay, so that means that Andy's mom was Jesse's owner, and so that's how Andy got the hat, and so that's why Andy's hat and Woody's hat don't match up. Alright, so that's all I have on the Andy's mom Toy Story story, but it's true. It's been proven Andy's mom is Jesse's owner, and that's where Andy got the red hat. Alright, moving on to our next movie correlation. This next one I had to totally look up because I hadn't heard anything about it before. And so we're gonna go with Mother Gothel from Tangled and the Evil Queen in Snow White. Alright, so according to internet sources, there is a comparison between Mother Gothel and Evil Queen. It is said that they are the same person. What? Alright, well, number one reason why they are the same person, physical similarities. I mean, they both got the black hair, pretty beautiful. Alright, number two reason why, physical similarities when they're old too. I mean, they've got the really scraggly old white hair. This one took me as a shocker, this next factoid quote. So apparently Mother Gothel has a dagger in the box, just like the Evil Queen's. When she goes back to the castle and Rapunzel isn't there and she starts to freak out and she's like, oh my gosh. And then she goes in a drawer and pulls out the drawer, and in that drawer is a box that looks exactly like the Evil Queen's box. And then she opens the box, and in that box is a dagger, just like the Evil Queen. Alright, so I was trying to pull out some other similarities that I didn't look up online, so I called up Alice. And so I'm sitting there talking to Alice, and I'm like, alright, help me compare between Mother Gothel and Evil Queen. And she comes up with the idea that they are both obsessed with beauty and youth. You know, obviously with Mother Gothel, the flower, you know, combing Rapunzel's hair to keep herself looking youthful through the power of the flower. And then with Evil Queen, with the mirror, always saying, who's the fairest one of all? Always thinking, you know, she's the most beautiful one of all, even though it always says Snow White's the fairest one of all. They are both obsessed with being the most beautiful and youthful looking. So that's about as far as we could get with the comparison between Mother Gothel and Evil Queen. But I'm done with that topic and on to the next two movies. Now I'm going to be talking about Rise of the Guardians and Frozen. And I know Rise of the Guardians isn't really a Disney movie, but hang in there with me, alright guys? Okay, first off, Rise of the Guardians. As we know, Jack is Jack Frost, and he had a sister when we look back at his backstory. And then when we look at Elsa, you know, she's also got a little sister, Anna. With Anna and Elsa, when they were playing together, Elsa accidentally hits Anna with her ice powers or whatever in the head, and so then they go to the trolls. Grandpappy asks the father, born or cursed with the powers of ice or whatever, and the father says born. But none of the other family members have ice powers. So how did Elsa get born with ice powers if no one else has ice powers? So apparently, according to all the theories that I've watched and read about, how Elsa got her ice powers has to do with Jack in Rise of the Guardians. So, with Jack, you know how he has his sister, and they were playing on the ice or whatever, and then he saves her from drowning in the ice, but instead he drowns. But then he gets chosen by the moon to become a guardian. So then Jack's sister, you know, lives on to grow up and be old or whatever. According to a link that I read off of Pinterest, Jack's little sister grew up to marry the king of Arendelle. It then states the moon told her, Jack's sister, that her first child would have ice powers in honor of Jack. So that's how Elsa got her ice powers. The moon chose her mom, who is Jack's sister, that she would have ice powers in honor of Jack. So if Jack's sister is Elsa's mother, what does that mean? Okay, now looking at the family tree here, we have Jack's little sister, who went on to marry the king of Arendelle, and then they have Elsa and Anna. So that means Jack is Anna and Elsa's uncle. That's the connection between Rise of the Guardians and Frozen, and that shows how Elsa got her powers. That was a little bit of a brain teaser, although all those four have been, and we haven't even gotten to the big one. Yes, the Frozen, Tarzan, Ariel, and Tangled connection. Okay, so as we all know, Elsa and Anna's parents died in a shipwreck in a storm. We also know that Tarzan's parents were supposedly, shipwrecked and washed on shore at that island and had their kid Tarzan before being eaten by the leopard. And then we see that in The Little Mermaid, Ariel is checking out a sunken ship with Flounder. So the beginning of this theory is that Anna and Elsa's parents didn't actually die in the shipwreck in the storm. They actually jumped overboard and survived, and then they swam to a near-shore island. From there, they then had a child before dying from an attack from a leopard, which the child turns out to be Tarzan. So that means that Tarzan, Anna, and Elsa are all brother and sister. Alright, so then following the rest of this, Anna and Elsa's parents jump overboard, their ship wrecks in the storm. They swim up to an island, have a baby, which is Tarzan, and then die from the leopard attack. And so then, their ship wrecks, and it sinks to the bottom of the ocean. So then comes along the Little Mermaid, Ariel swimming around with Flounder, and they inspect Anna and Elsa's shipwreck. You guys are probably thinking, well, what were they doing on that ship in the first place? The people that came up with the movie and followed the movie of Frozen or whatever were saying that they were going to find the source or reason for Elsa's ice powers. But according to theory, that's not true. According to all the theory enthusiasts, Anna and Elsa's parents were actually going to Rapunzel and Eugene Fitzherbert's wedding. How does Rapunzel figure into Frozen? You do see Eugene Fitzherbert and Rapunzel going to the christening of the Queen. That only makes sense because Anna and Elsa's parents were on their way to Rapunzel and Eugene's wedding, but they obviously didn't make it, washed up on an island, had Tarzan, and died. And so then it was only the right thing to do of Rapunzel and Eugene than to go to the Queen Elsa's christening. Okay, but what do Elsa, Anna, and Rapunzel have in common? They just happen to be friends and going to Anna's sister's christening. Have to be more than just friends because their parents were going to Rapunzel and Eugene's wedding. So what does that mean? So according to the theory, Anna and Elsa and Rapunzel are cousins. How are they cousins? Because their mothers are sisters. Alright, so let's clear this up. So Anna and Elsa's parents did not die on the shipwreck. They jumped overboard, swam to a small island, had the kid Tarzan, which means that that's Anna and Elsa's brother, so they are all brother and sister, and then died from the leopard attack. And that all happened on the way to Rapunzel and Eugene's wedding. And so then the right thing for Rapunzel and Eugene to do was come to Arendelle to their cousin's christening. And then after the shipwrecks and sinks, we see Ariel actually checking out the scene of the shipwreck. Anna and Elsa's parents' ship. That's what Ariel is checking out and gets the dinglehopper from before being chased by the shark. But wait, Lana, you just said that Jack and Frozen were related, and now Jack and Frozen is related with Tarzan and Tangled. So what does that mean? Alright, I'm pulling out the drawing board. We are going to figure this out. Okay, so we said that Jack's sister, who goes on to marry King of Arendelle. And from there, they had Anna and Elsa. Alright, so far from the last theme. Okay then, but according to the next theory that we just talked about, Anna and Elsa's parents got shipwrecked and then went ashore somewhere and had Tarzan and then died. And then apparently before they were shipwrecked, jumped off, had Tarzan and died, they were on their way to Rapunzel and Eugene's wedding, which means that they were related somehow. Alright, and so then, as the theory goes, Anna's mom and Rapunzel's mom were sisters. Rapunzel. Mom. Alright, there we go. Looking better. So that means that Anna and Elsa have a brother named Tarzan, and that they are cousins with Rapunzel because Rapunzel's mom and Anna and Elsa's mom, which are sisters, which means that Jack had another sister in the movie, which no one ever knew about. Alright, I think that's as far as I can go with Disney theories. My head kinda hurts a lot. Alright, so let me know what you guys think about that little Disney theory. If there are any other types of Disney theories that you guys would like to hear discussed, please comment down in the comment section below. I'll get to those, I'll look them up, and I'll get another movie out about the Disney theories that you would like to see decently soon. That is all for today, but I will see you guys later. This is Lana, and you just got the word.